Now it's time to lace up.
Good evening and welcome to the first ever episode of Laced Up. I'm Jessica Mendoza, joined today by Rose Carter and Maddie Davidson. Now for those of you who don't know, this show is completely ran by women from the ground up, and tonight is our debut.
Still to this day, women are underlooked and underrepresented in the sports industry, but we are here to change the game.
And to start, we have to dive into the saga everyone has been talking about, Antonio Brown. When does the drama end?
That's right, Rose. Former Raiders player Antonio Brown has stirred up a lot of drama, and he even left Patriots Bill Belichick at a loss for words.
Bill, why did you decide to cut Antonio Brown on Friday?
Yeah, we'll just focus on today's game.
So, I mean, obviously he doesn't really want to talk about things. This has been an ongoing issue. I don't know, what do you guys think about all this stuff?
I think it's crazy. It's crazy that Antonio Brown went from the Steelers to the Raiders and to the Patriots, and now he's just nowhere. I think it's insane.
Yeah, I think the major problem is that no one trusts him. Like, is he going to Instagram Live in the locker room?
Yeah.
Is he going to post a phone call with his coach? Who knows?
It's insane. And when this all first started with the Steelers, I believed Antonio Brown. I wanted to understand where he was coming from. He was saying that Ben Roethlisberger's not a good teammate or a leader, and he was unhappy there, and I wanted something better for him. Then he went to the Raiders. Things went very poorly there. And finally with the Patriots, if anyone was going to be able to fix this issue, it should have been the Patriots, and they weren't able to do that. So to me, this kind of seems like a lost cause. I don't see Antonio Brown changing.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this was a really tough decision for the Patriots. I think they had to decide between having a successful player on their team or protecting their image, and I think that they did make a good call with protecting their image.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's kind of sad that with this sexual assault allegations, I don't think we should talk about that, as we don't know anything. The only people that know are the people that are involved at this point. But I think it's sad that it had to come down to his behavior with the team and the fact that Bill Belichick didn't like the way he was being treated, not the fact that there were these serious allegations going on. And it's sad that we have to kind of question those allegations.
Yeah, exactly. And it almost seems to me that he doesn't even want to play. Because not even going into the allegations, but the text messages that he sent were threatening. And why would you do that if you know you're going to be investigated for these allegations?
I just think, he's full of himself, and he just thinks he's on top of the world right now, so he thinks he can do whatever he wants, and he was not going to have consequences.
Yeah, he does. He thinks he's above everything else, and he's above the rules. He wasn't showing up to practice. He wasn't showing up to team events. And I don't know if you guys saw the recent video of him throwing furniture out the window. I mean, that was just bizarre, and to me, I think that Antonio Brown, he needs people around him. I don't know if this is already happening, but people around him need to be telling him that he's not doing the right thing. And he needs to have those people who, even though he's not going to like what they're saying, they need to be helping him out for sure. So that leads me into asking you guys, do you think he's going to appear back in the NFL on another team in the next few years?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe we'll see, but I think he's really got to shape up his act and, work on a few things before he comes back. But I don't know if any NFL team's going to want to take him after, this whole thing that's been going on.
Yeah, what about you, Rose?
You know what? I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think that history has proven that the NFL is a business. It's not personal. And, I mean, you look at Cleveland and Kareem Hunt. You look at Adrian Peterson, who had allegations of child abuse. They're still in the NFL, so what's different with Antonio Brown?
I think that's a very sad truth that you just said, that the NFL really just wants to win. The teams want to win. They want to have the best players. However, I think that because of it's been his personality, it's been his traits, and the fact that he's disrespectful and he can't be tamed in a way, that makes me think that he will not be back. I don't think that any coaches or owners want to have to deal with that, no matter how good Antonio is. He was such a good player, probably the best receiver in the league, but I just think it's too much at this point. And well, I guess now he's going to school. He's going back to college. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to see if he does come back to the NFL. But over the summer, the U.S. Women's Soccer team was making headlines once again.
As many people know, the women's team has been fighting for equal pay, and after they won the World Cup, the crowd broke out into a huge equal pay fight.
But they are not the only ones that have been fighting for what they deserve. Sydney Wicker sat down with the CSU soccer team to talk about the fight they had to get their new facility.
The chant heard around the world. After winning their 4th World Cup title this summer, the U.S. women's soccer team proved that they can bring home the hardware. But an equal pay solution has still not been brought to the table. But the women refuse to stop fighting.
When I play a game for the U.S. national team, I want to be compensated equally as if, Josie Altidore plays a game.
Much like the fight the U.S. soccer team had this summer, the CSU soccer team has also been fighting to be seen and fighting to get what they deserve.
I always think about the 2013 team and the 14s and the 15s and the 16s, and I always told those kids that they were the ones that were doing the heavy lifting to get us to this point, and now it's our job to make them proud of what they were a part of to start with.
From the Lagoon Field all the way out to the soccer field right behind Moby, the soccer team for Colorado State has been fighting for something new, and a new facility is exactly what they got.
I came here my freshman year, spring, and we're at the Lagoon still. So coming here is a big step up, but to see the facilities and everything that they're going to do is absolutely amazing. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty jealous that I won't be here, but it's super cool.
The CSU soccer team now has a permanent home. From playing games on the Lagoon Field back in 2013 to finally having a field in 2017, the soccer team will be looking to see that new field. But the women are just excited that they are finally being heard.
It's exciting to see that we're actually being cared about in a way. I mean, getting facilities is a big deal, but equal pay is even bigger, so it's cool seeing that from the women's side especially.
I definitely think the women are getting somewhere in soccer, and them being able to speak about that kind of lets everyone know. So I think being on a sports soccer team just like that really, it boosts a lot of people's confidence.
Now the fight only continues, but there are strides being made. From the CSU soccer field, I'm Sydney Wicker, CTV 11 Sports.
Wow, guys. That was such an empowering story, but I think we need to be thinking about how can we keep this momentum going.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that it just shows that all soccer players around the world, even at CSU, they all look up to this national women's soccer team that we have, and they've had so much success winning the cup in 91, 99, 2015, and 2019. And the fact that they're still not getting that equal pay that they deserve it just blows my mind, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was with Sydney when we talked to some of the soccer girls, and they were saying how the U.S. women's national team is such a big influence, and how everything they do, they learn from it, and it's just been a huge movement, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going off your point about how this is a movement, I just wanted to talk about how tennis actually has paved the way for equal pay for women in the sports industry, especially Venus Williams at Wimbledon in 2002. That was the first time that they were paid equally, the men and the women. Yeah. So I think that's why it's so exciting that the national team is using their platform to talk about this.
Yeah, it is extremely exciting, and it's so well deserved, all the success that they've had. When you look at the men's team, the best they've ever had in the World Cup is getting 3rd in 1930, and that just blows my mind. And the fact that they had over 20 million viewers for this most recent tournament is just insane. They have some really awesome women on the team that have big voices and big personalities that just America loves them.
Yeah, and also they're not getting a lot of sponsors either, so they're just getting them during the year of the World Cup. So the off season, there's nobody really sponsoring them, so they don't have, the money to get new facilities or just even work harder, just get represented more.
Yeah, and I think that's why they talk about how important it is that the fans go out there and continue to support them. They love all the support they've already gotten, but for people to go out and follow their local teams, their state teams, and the national team, that's really what's going to make the difference, because the word is out that they want equal pay, and we all support them with it, but we have to show with our actions that we really support that.
Yeah, and I also think, they're the first, they're the most, U.S. jersey team that people are buying. So women and men are both buying the jersey, so it's really nice to know that the women's team is being represented by the USA.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Maddie.
But yeah, so I think overall, I think that everyone's really excited for this team, and I think they're really being a successful team.
Yeah, for sure. The CSU team, yeah, they've had a lot of girls already win some Mountain West awards, and I think that they kind of had a rough season last year. They had a hard time on offense and scoring some goals, but they've really improved this past year, and it shows.
Yeah, a couple of the girls on the soccer team said that this has been, the closest team that they've had and worked together really well, and they're very determined to have a good season.
Yeah, I would definitely say they deserve a facility.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Rams, we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the director of the Men's Basketball Administration to ask her about her job and what it's like on a day-to-day basis. Don't go anywhere.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Welcome back. We are now joined with Emma Montie, the Director of Men's Basketball Administration. Welcome, Emma. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and we just kind of want to find out more about what you do in your job. So can you kind of just shortly explain what your roles are every day?
Yes. So as Director of Men's Basketball Administration, I guess some of my duties include managing the day-to-day schedule. I am kind of a liaison between different departments, so whether it's the fundraising department, the marketing department, working across offices with them in order to coordinate things. I also manage all of the team travel, so I would say that that is a big portion of my role. I spend the summers kind of contracting all of that, getting the team buses, the hotel, the airplanes all ready. Then during the season, I do have the opportunity to travel with the team and make sure things go smoothly with all of that so the team is able to make it onto the court.
That's
and
awesome.
Play for you to
so
see.
you travel with the team everywhere they go?
Yes.
On the road. That's awesome. So I'm sure you're really close with all the coaches and the players at this point.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I'm going into my second season with this staff here at CSU, and we're all, a family. So you spend more time here than you do at home, and it's a really great group of people to work with.
That's great. So we kind of talk about how we're women in sports media. We're surrounded by a lot of men. You are too, though. Did you grow up with brothers, or do you have those girlfriends that kind of keep that balance outside of work?
No, actually, I only have one sister,
Okay.
so no brothers. And it's kind of funny. I feel like I got into men's basketball by accident. Just during undergrad, my major was sport management, and I saw a posting online for a student office assistant in men's basketball. I applied, got the job. That took me through undergrad, and then I was able to stay on board for 2 more years as a graduate assistant before landing here with CSU men's basketball. But I love it.
Would you say that the CSU men's basketball team is a good group of people and they're very inspirational with everything they do?
Yeah, definitely. This year we have 9 new guys on the team, which is pretty exciting. From getting to know them when they came here on the recruiting visit, and then always, getting the commitments and really seeing them step foot on campus, bond between the staff and the players, and just fit in and create something really cool.
What's your favorite part about being involved in this team?
I think that it's just always changing.
Yeah.
I mean, with the travel, you're somewhere new every week. You can't predict what's going to happen if, your bus is late or like the food doesn't show up. Those are the things where you have to just plan on the go and roll with it and keep your cool. So kind of like that to mix things up.
I could see how that'd be a big issue for those big guys if the food didn't show up on time.
Tragic.
So was Nico Medved who hired you?
Yes, so I just had some mutual connections between the staff. So they came from Drake University to CSU, and I came straight from the University of Minnesota, which was where I did undergrad and grad school. And just through connections across the staff, I met him, had lunch, kind of interviewed for the job, and landed out here, which has been great. I'm so lucky to be in Fort Collins.
That's awesome. So you and Nico Medved are in your second year, and you mentioned there's a lot of new guys. Do you feel like everything's kind of gelling together pretty well so far?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we just had our first official day of practice, but I mean, our freshmen have been here since June, so we've really gotten all summer to get to know each other, team dinners at Coach's house, we went laser tag, bowling, all that, so I think we really have it rolling.
That's cool.
Okay, so real talk. How do you think they're going to do this year?
I'm excited. I mean, I think we will look completely different. So, like I mentioned, with the new players, a few transfers which will be sitting out, but they're still in the gym working hard every day. We have one transfer who is able to play, so that's exciting, and then our incoming freshmen. So, yeah, I don't know. I try to pop down to practice and check everything out when I'm not upstairs in the office.
Awesome.
So how did you get involved in sports? Have you grown up playing sports?
Yes, I was always involved in athletics, elementary through high school, and then I got to college, and I was like, I have no idea what I wanted to do, and honestly, working in sports wasn't even really on my radar until one day I was in the process of actually transferring schools, and I saw a posting for a marketing internship, just game day marketing. I was like, well, that sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that. So I applied and began doing that, and that turned into me loving it. I went for the sport management major, and then just kind of snowballed from there.
Do you have more career goals following this? Do you feel like you'll stay in Colorado for a while, or what's your dream? Where do you dream to be in the future?
I guess in terms of destination, I would be happy wherever. Before I got the job out here, I'd never been to Colorado, but it's been great so far here at CSU. In terms of career goals, I think I'd love to stay in collegiate athletics. So whether it's just pursuing something in administration or something completely different, I just love the college atmosphere with the students and all of that.
Yeah.
So how dedicated would you say this team is to each other and to this faculty that you guys have?
I would say there's a high level of dedication, and like I mentioned, how we've been together for a few months now, and you can really see that even off the court, these guys hang out. You'll see them walking around campus together, doing things. So it's not just work, I guess, basketball for them. It's truly like team.
A friendship. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I was just wondering, is there anyone in the industry that you look up to?
Geez, it's hard to pinpoint specific people, but I mean, I'm surrounded by, obviously I'm the only female on my men's basketball staff, but within the department, there are, a number of different females that I can connect to, even males. I mean, working in sports, I feel like you really have to have that drive, and anybody who's willing to stick around, I respect that, because it's long hours, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So you work with the coaches a lot, and Nico and Dave, there's some characters that can be really fun. Do you have any funny stories that people might not know about? Or anyone with the team?
This is tough, I guess. I'm trying to think of something specific, but I think a highlight last summer our team went rafting. So that was awesome. I happened to land in a raft with like a few managers, a couple players, but then like Coach Thorson, Coach Medved, I feel like everybody kind of had it together. Meanwhile, there was another raft with like mostly players, our director of ops, Aaron, and they got all wrapped up in a rapid and actually flipped.
No.
So
They landed in the water.
Yeah, we still make fun of them for that.
Oh, I bet that was funny. A little bit scary too.
Yeah. So you say that you conduct all the travel stuff for them. Have you ever had any incidences where like things didn't work out, or like you got there and rooms weren't booked or something?
A couple times. One time we got snowed in, like there was a blizzard here and we got stuck in New Mexico, so we were kind of scrambling, but we had enough time to talk to the hotel and were able to stay. So little things like that.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Keep breaking those barriers. That's awesome. And we are going to be coming back with Disrupted Picks.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Welcome back from the break. Tonight we're going to do a little thing we like to call Disrupted Picks.
Yeah, in Disrupted Picks, we discuss controversial sports topics that are going on right now. So with that, let's get started. We're going to start off with the question, is Gardner Minshew the real deal, or is he being overhyped way too early? And I will gladly start this one off, you guys, because I'm a Jags fan, and I've been through it, you guys. They've had the worst few seasons. They did pretty well in the playoffs a few years ago, but here they are. They had Nick Foles gets hurt, and now they have Gardner Minshew. When I heard they picked him up, I was just thinking, who is this? What is going on? And there was all this hype around him immediately for the things that he was wearing, for what he was doing. And so I'm a little bit nervous that he is being overhyped for things off the field rather than the performance that he's going to put on the field. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's way too early to tell because, well, we know Nick Foles. We know what he's capable of. Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
He was doing very well filling in for Wentz last year as well. And he goes out first game of the season. So I think that with Minshew, he's doing really well right now. The Jags wanted to get someone better than Bortles. I think they've done that.
Yeah.
Minshew can get the ball down the field. So that's exciting for the Jags, but I don't think we can say he's the best ever yet.
He's no Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I disagree with both of you. Like, I honestly think that he's the real deal. You know, he's the best passer so far for a quarterback rookie in the first 3 weeks, which is good. He scored 2 touchdowns in the Jacksonville game, which was like the first game they had. So I think he's going to be really good.
Well, I like that you're saying that. That makes me feel good about being a fan, but with everything that I've been through with the Jags, I don't want to get my hopes up at this point. And also, like you mentioned, with him being, you know, it's very early on. We've had high hopes for other people. Even Baker Mayfield, he leads the league in interceptions. So I don't know what we're going to see for the rest of the season from him, but I'm hoping that he can continue to be a good leader for this team. I'm just worried that, as I mentioned before, he's being overhyped in the media and talked about a lot in the media for things off the field. Like, I don't know if you guys heard, but apparently he stretches almost naked in the locker room. And just the outfits that he wears are a little bit interesting. So he's definitely getting a lot of attention for those things.
Yeah. And I think the publicity too is it's getting to him a lot, and I think that he's just kind of like, oh, let me do this, let me do that to kind of get more publicity on him for sure.
Stay focused on the football, Gardner. Stay focused for me.
Yes. I'm also going to have to bring up though Fitzmagic last year. Fitzpatrick filling in for Jameis Winston. First 3 weeks, way overhyped. I think it could be the same for Minshew.
It's definitely dangerous to have that really high. People have these really high expectations for you, so we're gonna have to wait and see what happens there.
Well, I'm rooting for him. I think he's gonna do good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm positive, so we'll see.
All right, guys, moving on. So there have been so many injuries in the NFL lately, but and a lot of players actually retiring in their prime. Do we think that's going to increase?
I don't know. I feel like players like Andrew Luck, you know, that was really sad. His whole retirement thing that he went through, for sure. I think that really, his speech was really emotional, for sure.
Yeah, let's actually take a look at that speech.
But I am going to retire. This is not an easy decision. Honestly, it's the hardest decision of my life. In conclusion, my folks who aren't here tonight, but Mom, Dad, Mayor, Emily, Ad, Uncle Will, all my friends, thank you. And my wife, Nicole, thank you. I love you.
Man, you guys, that was kind of a while ago, but watching that back makes me want to cry. That makes me emotional. It's so sad to see. I mean, I wasn't a Colts fan or really even an Andrew Luck. I wasn't really a big fan of him, but he had so much potential and talent, and the fact that he had to leave the game so early in his career is really sad.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm a big Steelers fan. So, you know, Ben Roethlisberger's out right now because of an elbow injury. And I think that's, you know, another prime player right now that's out for injuries. Luckily, he just had surgery on Monday. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm really hoping he comes back to the season and he's not like these other players that just don't just retire early and that's their life.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of players out right now that are injured. Even Saquon Barkley, which is really sad. But I think that the NFL is trying to do things to make it a safer game, but it doesn't seem to really be working so far from what we've seen. And I think that's just the sad reality of this game. And I'm happy to see players like Andrew Luck are taking their own health and their own safety into account when thinking about their future. They're not just going to keep playing the game for the money or for the love of the game. They're looking at the people around them and their own safety and wanting to do what's best for everybody.
I agree.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Rams, that is all the time we have for this week. Thank you for being a part of our first ever Women in Sports show. Be sure to tune in next month for another episode of Laced Up with special guest Kim Badinga, the Assistant Director of Diversity and Inclusion.
But for now, to stay updated on more sports throughout the week, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at sports_CTV.
Tune back in tomorrow for more news from the people you know and to see Corey Odom in another minute of mayhem on Corey's Countdown. Until next time, keep changing the game and have a great night, Rams.